So the bastard child of Mithras walks the earth. Yeah? That's what I am. That's what I got told I am tonight. Bastard child of Mithras. I got to start from the beginning. So I've been training, huh? I've been training with this toff called Mason Guildford. Some stuck up in the arse British ancient venture who just reminds me of every fucking upper class twat I had to deal with in London. But I did the sword training. I did the 4 quarters. I did the posture and the poise, and I did even the fucking tie and the fucking shirt. I accommodated him. I tried to be the proper Ventru that I'm supposed to be. So we get to the meeting. I turn up. Everyone makes some pithy comment on the fact that I'm wearing a fucking tie now. That's all it fucking takes. I feel like I'm wearing a noose around my neck when I wear this thing. Fucking hate ties, hate shirts, hate formalities, hate business meetings. And I had to fucking endure all of them tonight. Okay. So there was some backlash going on from killing Stuttgart, whoever the fuck it was that we slaughtered last time. Apparently his remnants of his pack were cutting off the cell phone towers. I know a fair amount about electronics. Could have gone and helped. Could have gone and sorted that one. But no, I got to stay back because it's not my place anymore. I could have gone and helped out with the violence against Stuttgart's people. I could have gone and stood in front of them, taken the hits, pounded them into the floor. That's what I'm fucking good at. But no. Ventru protocol requires me to stay back and observe and be part of the fucking Ventru prissy backup crew. But I did it. Swallowed my pride and said, this is your job, Mike. This is what you gotta be if this is your future. If you're gonna be one of these people, you gotta act like one of these people. You gotta start being like a ruler if they're gonna make you rule. So I took it on. So I did the work. So I did what I was supposed to fucking do. And what happens? I was talking with Mason, and that terrifying prince of where is it? Springfield turns up. That Ventru Penfield, who's made me feel so fucking uncomfortable before, turns up, and they decide it's time for a board meeting. And so we go to this board meeting. We take ourselves away from everyone else while they're all off sorting out the problems of the domain. The Ventru decide to go and have a meeting. And I wander along, and I'm done up in a shirt and tie, giving away my armour to Ken so that he's got some protection while he goes out there, and I am feeling like mutton dressed up as lamb. Don't feel right. And I know why. Because that creepy asshole Penfield just keeps staring at me like he knows something more than he should. And I sit down at the meeting, and he opens up this little notepad in front of him. Quite poignantly, quite obviously, just leaves it on the table right in front of him, knowing I can see it. And I realise it's a lineage chart. And I see the name Mithras there. And I see Mordecai Lucius's name there. And I see Mason Guildford's name there as well. And I see the name Timothy Mithranson. Not Mike Bailey, Timothy Mithranson. Directly connected to Mithras. And there's little numbers next to all the names too. And I realise those are their generations. And right next to my name, the number 6. 6th generation. Basically, in one little passive-aggressive manoeuvre, he lets me know that he knows that I'm lying about fucking everything. He knows I'm not 5th generation. He knows I'm a mongrel. He knows that I'm not the real child of Mithras. He knows about all of the corruption of my blood. And he just stares at me. And so I just introduced myself. I could say my name's Timothy Mithras, and it felt so weird to feel my real name come out of my mouth again. I got so used to being Mike Bailey. I feel like Timothy Mithras died last August. Because everything that made him, everything that he loved, everything that he cared about, everything that I was, died that night. And that's when I became Mike. But I had to use my real name. I had to present myself before this group. And Dallas gives me a weird look sitting right next to me, because I've had to fucking lie through my teeth to him up until this point. And he suddenly realises that I'm not a neonate like him. I'm not a little guy. I'm filled with elder blood. And so we sit through this meeting as they decide who is going to function as what position in the Ventru Empire, and how we're going to structure this board. And they're talking about bringing on board even the fucking Baroness of Hertford, that anarch queen, who's Ventru, who's, left the Camarilla, and they want to draw her into the board because they want to unify the clan. And I bring up the problem of the Razors at the meeting, and how they assaulted the prince and how they assaulted me, just because I feel like it's something the clan should be dealing with. And Penfield gives me this look and says, this sounds like a personal matter. And I realise that he's onto me. He fucking knows that I don't belong there. He knows that I'm not a suitable choice of Ventru. He knows that there's no way someone like me should be sitting on that board. But I think that at this point, that fucking tie has never felt more like a noose than it did right then. I started to sweat. Actually physically sweat, because I still fucking do that. Fucking thin blood curse. Still sweat. Still pant. Still piss. I'm starting to sweat in front of all these elder kindred, and I'm surrounded by 3 ancient Ventru. And I'm fucking sweating. And I'm hoping one of them doesn't notice or smell it. I never wanted to get out of anything in my life as much as I wanted to get out of that room. And never in my life. Fucking hell, I faced a Gangrel elder last month. Stood face to face with him as he clawed his way through my stomach. And I didn't feel as scared as I did sitting right there with people that are supposed to be my family. So we walk out of there, and I know I've got to tell the truth. I know I've got to come clean to Mason. But Mason disappears. I'm not sure where he goes off to. He goes off to deal with some business. And I'm sitting thinking, I've got to get to him and tell him the truth before Penfield exposes me. Because he's going to do it. He's going to do it. You can see it in his eyes. You can see he doesn't like me. You can see he knows I don't belong there. And you see he knows I need to go. But I don't get my chance. So I have to put my business face back on. I have to suck it all back inside. I have to make myself all buttoned up, shirt, smart Mr. Ventru again. So that Giovanni representative turns up. Friendlier guy than everyone makes him out to be, even though he creeps the hell out of me. So I think, fine, I'm just going to do business. If I can't get anything done with my clan, if I'm just going to be passively, aggressively threatened by members of my clan, then I'm just going to do my work and do my business. So I wander up to the Giovanni, I hand him one of my flyers, and I say, you need any custom auto work, you need any mechanic work. And he fucking lands a massive contract on me. Whole fleet of vehicles, 8 custom vehicles, just for the Giovanni, and he's going to pay me through the nose for it. Fucking A. I should solve some of my financial worries. Should give me enough to keep the club afloat, maybe even expand. Hoping I can negotiate for some of those Giovanni tokens too, because I've got the feeling I'm going to need some help from some kindred soon. And I'm ready to decide by myself. And I pull Dallas aside, and I give him the whole speech, and I tell him who I really am, and I'm a child of Mithras, obviously leaving out the mongrel blood aspect that I don't want to get known. And Dallas has been assigned the task of trying to liaise with the Razors to try to find some sort of peaceful solution. So I'm giving him every bit of information I can about the Razors, and it's sticking in my throat that we're trying to negotiate with these motherfuckers. But I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing the Ventrue thing, because that's what Ventrue are supposed to do. And they catch a couple of the members of the Sabbat pack that Studvig was associated with, and they get the cell phones back and working. And Uchenna gets on my fucking nerves like he usually does. And the Primogen Council, well, mostly led by me, we actually finally choose a harpy, and we make Dallas the harpy. I mean, who better? If you need a bitchy queen to take care of all of your harpy business, go to a glam rock star. But anyway, I have to do my duty. And Mason turns back up, and he seems in reasonably good spirits, as much as you can ever tell with that sort of cold, calculating exterior of his. So I sit him down, and I give him the full story. I talk about the plan to drive Mithras to Wassail. I talk about them using me, and I tell them that I got partially embraced before Mithras got to me. And that's when he looks at me and he just says, "Bastard child of Mithras walks the earth." And he's furious. I can just feel this rage building in him. And he storms off from me. And he walks up to the prince and he drags the prince aside, and I am sweating again. I have never been so scared in my life that I'm going to be fucking dead in a minute. And he screams, and him and the prince frantically conversing in the corner, whispering away from everybody else. And the prince walks up on the stage and announces loudly and angrily that every single member of the Razors gang is now blood hunted, and they are to be slaughtered without mercy in his domain. And I'm standing there going, I don't know what the fuck Mason's done. Is he doing this out of vengeance? Is he doing this to help me? Is he doing this because he's so angry at what they did, or because he wants to help protect me? And I don't know where I stand anymore. And he just walks up to me and just looks at me and says, "That's how you get it done." And that's the last thing he says to me. And I can feel the rage emanating off him. And I've got to stay away from him. Got to stay away from him. I've seen what he can do. I've seen the kind of power he's got. And I can't mess with that. So, the meeting concludes. And I kind of slink out the back, get back on my motorbike and get back here. And I don't know where I stand anymore. I don't know if I'm in, if I'm out. I don't know if the Ventrue want me dead or alive. I don't know if I'm still the Ventrue Messiah. The prince seemed pretty happy to have me still. But you never know whether he's being diplomatic. He's just the kind of motherfucker that could smile sweetly at you and tell you how important you are to him while one of his bound lackeys stabs you right in the back with a poisoned dagger. I don't feel safe anymore. I don't feel safe. I don't feel protected by my clan anymore. But the Razors. There's a blood hunt on the fucking Razors, and I am going to focus on that. Because now I've got carte blanche to slaughter them. And I've got the support of the other kindred in the city to wipe them out. To start with, I'm going to get their hangout in Hartford burnt down. I'm going to drive them out of Hartford so there's no chance of them being under a domain where they've got protection of any other Ventrue. And then I'm going to join the hunt. I'm going to join any pack that goes out there. I don't care what Mason says, I don't care what the Prince says. I'm going to find a way to sneak out, and I am going to find every single last one of those fuckers, and I want to see them burn. I guess that's all I got now, huh? Vengeance. I'm not the Messiah. I'm not the pure blood the Ventry were hoping I'd be. So all I got is an opportunity for revenge. And that's going to have to be enough.